Oh, morning, folks. Josh here, Solopreneur Grind. It is Friday, July 17th, and it's the SG Day. No, July 19th. Holy moly! Summer flies faster than most other seasons. I don't know why. Love to hear your thoughts. Anyways, this week's theme has been combating loneliness as a solopreneur. This really could apply to anything, right? Because even if you're working for a company and maybe you spend a lot of time alone, working by yourself, whatever it is, I think all of these tips would apply. So check out episode 71 if you want some other tips on how to combat it. I think, 'cause I've been working by myself for 2 years now. So I've tried a whole bunch of stuff. Some of it works better than others. In episode 71 of the SG Daily, I went over 3 that I really think are helpful. Recommend giving that a listen if you haven't heard it. I'm going to actually go through 3 more because I had about a day and a half to reflect on those first 3 and think about what else could I, what am I going to talk about Friday, basically. And what came to my mind is that I actually have a few more suggestions on how to combat it. These are a little bit more abstract. Let's call them a little more out of the box, but I think they're just as effective and important as the other 3. So I'm just going to dive right in after taking a sip from the J mug. And the first one I recommend is finding a more social work environment. So what I found is that a lot of the times where you start to feel lonely as a solopreneur is strictly related to the fact that you're sitting by yourself in a room by yourself for long periods of time, right? And that's not really what humans were meant to do. We're social creatures. We're meant to, work or live with a group of people in a small community or medium size or whatever size community. So by spending 5 days a week or more by yourself working it was easy to see why the loneliness factor was creeping in. So there's a few ways to fix that. Like for me, I started going to some coffee shops. That was okay. I started some co-working spaces. Those are really good. I recommend those. Right now, I'm actually using like a flexible co-working space. So I'm in Toronto. There's this company called FlexDay. And they basically, if you join, they partner with a whole bunch of bars and restaurants around downtown Toronto. And with my membership, I can go into any one that I want each day of the week. So that's super cool too. I think those are really good options, especially co-working spaces, because you'll have a little bit more consistency, right? It's almost like replicating working at a real office where you go in, you see familiar faces, there's other people going around, there's like other just energy, right? When there's other people around you in the building, there's just kind of more going on and you can feed off of that. So I highly recommend looking for like a co-working space. You can get creative with that too, right? You can, like, for example, for 3 months this past year, I rented a desk from a startup company. There was a startup company who had open desks available in their office and they rented those out. So it was almost like a quasi co-working space, but that worked out really well too. And it was cheaper than a co-working space. So that's number 1. Find a more social working environment. Number 2 is, again, a little more abstract and probably fairly obvious, but just talk to more people on an average day or an average week. And what I mean by this is I've had super successful months revenue-wise that were super lonely and like not fun. And the reason for those was because I was doing so much client work by myself. I had a much less interaction, right? I wasn't doing as much marketing or sales. So I wasn't getting on sales calls. I wasn't talking to people. I didn't have time to go to events. I was staying at home more often just to get more done. So find ways to just talk to more people. This can be through things like sales to benefit your business, but this could just be, if you're at a co-working space, for example, just go talk to random people, take more breaks, talk to the barista at the coffee shop, talk to people, wherever you stop, or I don't know, at the grocery store, on the street, call up a friend every day, of the week, or every few days, catch up with a friend, call your family more. Just the actual conversing with other human beings, this kind of goes in tandem with point number one, which is we are social beings. So how do you add more social aspects to your life? So have more conversations. Again, it doesn't have to be business related, but just by having it, you'll feel more energized. You'll feel a little bit more normal. It's almost like a reminder, like, oh, there are other people on this planet, right? Which sounds weird, but really can have a profound effect. Now, going into number three, we're going even further down the abstract slope here. And the third tip is to practice gratitude more often. And if you don't, to start. And what I mean by that is it's easy to get lonely and start going down like a mental rabbit hole of, oh, I'm lonely. Oh, this sucks. My job sucks. Why am I doing this? And next thing you know, you're crying on your pillow or whatever. But what we often forget is the good stuff, right? So be grateful for the good stuff that's going on. So for example, that really good month I have, let's say, I wasn't appreciating that the business was doing well. I was working with cool clients. I was working my own hours on my own terms. I didn't have a boss. I still had a good social life, family support. Like you forget about all that stuff really easily. So by being more grateful, you can really combat some of because like nothing's going to be perfect, right? Even if you find the perfect job or start the perfect business, there's going to be hard times. There's going to be lonely times. You have to rely on the good stuff to get you through that. And there's a few ways you can practice gratefulness, right? You could even just take 2 minutes in the morning and just think about how grateful you are, right? Some people pray to, show their gratefulness. Some people meditate. I like to try and include it in my meditation. Some people journal. You can journal about how grateful you are, what things you are grateful for, friends, families, health, wealth, whatever it may be. I think those are probably the biggest ones, like meditation, journaling, praying. They're all kind of different forms of like meditation, self-expression, and including more gratitude. Even just talking to other people about it, right? Talking to your friends about what you're each grateful for, family members, thanking your parents, all that good stuff. So those are three more. I actually think they're like almost as important as the first three that I mentioned in episode 71 of the SG Daily, which I recommend you give a listen to. So just to reflect quickly, number one, find a more social work environment. Number two, talk to more people in general, whether it be for business or not. Number three, practice some form of gratefulness because you don't want to forget all the good stuff that's going on as well. So that's it for the week. That's it for the theme, which was combating loneliness as a solopreneur. Hope you enjoyed it. If you did, make sure to hit like if you're watching this on Facebook, or follow, subscribe, leave a review if you're listening on the podcast. I'd really appreciate it. And if you have a suggestion for a theme of next week, any topic you want me to go deeper on, spend the whole week on, feel free to either leave a comment, shoot me an email, shoot me a DM on @solopreneurgrind, or shoot me an email at josh@solopreneurgrind.com. Hope your week went well. Have a great weekend. Talk to you on Monday.